Hi everyone, it's Delizia from Delizia Naturally here. I wanted to just have a quick chat about tallow soap and some of the processes that I use and also the reasoning why I use tallow soap. So the first reason is that tallow is a byproduct of the animal industry. So in Australia we have a lot of cattle, and like a lot of countries, we slaughter that cattle for meat. The byproduct is the fat, and a lot of that fat is not used for sausages or anything else. It's often discarded or put it back into compost. So I source that fat and I make soap and moisturizing cream out of it, which I also use myself. So tallow being that byproduct, I come from a culture where you don't waste anything and you use the whole beast from nose to tail. So I've partnered with a few farms out there that also have that ethos, and so they sell the meat to their customers and I come along and put the bar of soap in there made from their animal's fat. So with the tallow soap, just through a process of elimination and learning and experience, I make soap that is 100% tallow, meaning I don't add any other oils. There is a particular product that I sell, which is a shampoo bar, and that has tallow and coconut oil and almond oil, and I think that's it. Anyway, I don't have it with me, forgotten. So the tallow soap that I make is 100% tallow because I'm a purist at heart and I like the tallow to be the hero of that soap, but also because there are people that don't want polyunsaturated fats in their skincare products. So tallow is a saturated fat, so that's why I only make bars that are 100% tallow. I use about a 7 to 10% super fat. I have tried 15 to 20%, but I find that the tallow soap is, it's very creamy. So it's still soap, like if I were to make 100% olive soap, which is Castile soap, is still soap, but it has certain qualities attributable to that type of oil. So similarly with the tallow soap, it is a certain type of soap. It's very hard. Some people, it's very cleansing. And for me, I find it moisturizing. I don't have dry skin and I grew up with dry skin. So it's a wonderful soap for me to use. So because people want saturated fat and nothing to do with polyunsaturated fat, that's why I have the 100% tallow soap. The other thing I would like to mention is that for a period of time, I was using cedarwood atlas oil based on some of the teachings that were given to me and some of the things I read. The purpose of the cedarwood atlas oil was to anchor the fragrance in the soap, because a lot of soaps won't have that essential oil fragrance for a long period of time after they've cured. What I found with tallow soap is because the makeup of the tallow itself, of the animal fat, is strong enough to anchor the essential oil. So when I added the cedarwood atlas oil, I would have that smell that's quite particular of cedarwood atlas oil. To me, it smells like cat's urine. So I was using 2% cedarwood atlas oil in the tallow soap, and I found it was too strong. It was overpowering the essential oil. So for my tallow soap, if I use cedarwood atlas oil, and it's a big if, I use 0.5%, nothing more. Like that's the maximum, because the tallow properties already anchor the smell, the fragrance, I mean. So then the smell of the cedarwood atlas oil overpowers it. I'm not 100% sure why that happens, but with the tallow soap, I don't use the cedarwood atlas oil much at all. So for example, I've got this lemongrass tallow soap. So this has tallow, lemongrass essential oil, and that's it, and water and sodium hydroxide, which is in any soap. So should I add cedarwood atlas oil in this, that would be fine, but the lemongrass oil would be not as strong and the cedarwood atlas oil would overpower it. Different from this type of soap that I make, which is my grunt soap. And I make this soap from repurposed cooking oil, but you wouldn't know it because I get the cooking oil from restaurants and cafes in my local area. I clean that oil and then I filter it and I add flour, and then that soap is ready to use like any other oil for soap. So this is made from sunflower oil, coconut oil, and then it has tea tree oil and orange oil in it, amongst other things. It has white sand from Jervis Bay, which is one of the whitest sands in the world. It also has tea tree botanicals, so tea tree leaves blended up, citrus peel blended up. It has bentonite clay and also activated charcoal, hence its colour. So all of those ingredients with the added, and salt. I put salt in there as well. So all of those ingredients, I do add cedarwood atlas oil because it's predominantly a soft oil, being sunflower oil. And you'll learn from other soap makers that they will anchor that fragrance, the tea tree oil and orange oil, with the cedarwood atlas oil. So I do use it for this. But again, for this, I use only 1% because I find that any more, for some reason, for me, in my experience, it overpowers the essential oil. It's different for every soap maker, but these are just the things that I've learned. The other thing that I've learned is through soap making, I write everything down. If I try a recipe, I write everything down. The type of soap it is, the ingredients, the temperature, what I'm setting it in, whether it's a timber mold with baking paper or whether it's a timber mold with a silicone inset. I write it all down because the soap performs differently for every single detail. So for example, this type of soap I found hardened quickly in timber molds with baking paper opposed to timber molds in silicone. The silicone inset made it didn't set as quickly, even though it does have salt. So there's things like that that I write down. Just excuse me one moment. I wanted to show you this, which you can't see because it's reversed actually, but it's a little indicator that I use after I make a batch of soap. So it has on here soap type, the volume, which I need to add, I've just done that in pen there, the fragrance, the super fat, the date poured, the date out of the mold, and the date plus 6 weeks, and then any comments. So I might write disaster batch, volcano, or took ages to set, or things like that. And then I can look back and go, okay, what was the volume? Okay, maybe it was a large batch and I wasn't looking at all the factors. The other thing is the super fat might have been too high or things like that. So often the comments are more than anything else, but I just use that to track my progress for soap making. And if there's anything that I need to pay attention to. So I just want to end by saying, look, I don't know everything there is to know about soap making. I'm still learning. I'm not a chemical scientist, all of those things. So I'm learning through practice, through experience, and through my history and my ancestors who used to make soap in Italy. My grandparents used to make soap from leftover lard when they would slaughter an animal for their family to eat, and they'd use cooking oil as well, repurpose the cooking oil and combine that and make it for soap for the community. So there are those things that I'm learning about as well. So if you've got any other questions, and hopefully I can answer them. If not, I hope I can refer you to somebody that can. There are other people out there more knowledgeable than I about soap making and that have been doing it for longer. But these are just some of the things that I've learned, especially in respect to tallow and cedarwood atlas oil and using repurposed cooking oil. I have a few other videos on the YouTube channel about how to clean repurposed cooking oil and how to make it into soap. The other thing is I really want to encourage you, if you've never tried making soap from cooking oil that's been used, look at one of those videos. If you have any questions, ask me, because the last thing I want is cooking oil going down the drain or just being poured into a bin, which just goes to landfill. We can actually use it to make soap. And if you don't want to use it for soap on your body, use it for laundry soap. So thank you for watching. It sounded like a lot of ranting, but all the best, stay safe, and happy soap making.